Sometimes, when someone is obsessed with you, they won't show it the way you expect. In fact, the more they feel for you, the more distant they might become. This is especially true with avoidant types. They don't fall in love openly, they fall in love defensively. You start to sense something's off. One moment they're warm, present, and attentive. The next, they vanish. It's not that they don't care. It's that they care too much, and they're terrified of it. So what do? They play mind games, not out of cruelty, but out of fear. Here are the signs. First, they'll pull away after moments of closeness. You'll share a deep night together, laughter, connection, even vulnerability. Then silence. Why? Because closeness scares them. Second, they'll pretend to be indifferent, even when they're deeply watching. They want to see if you'll chase. If you don't, they'll panic, but they'll never say it out loud. Third, they give mixed signals, flirty texts one day, ice-cold replies the next. This push-pull keeps you confused, and confusion keeps you hooked. Fourth, they'll initiate contact when they feel you slipping away, just when you're about to move on. Hey, I was just thinking about you. They need reassurance that they still have you, even if they're not ready to fully show up. Fifth, they'll talk about others, exes, friends, flings, not because they want you to be jealous, but because they need to know you care. Sixth, they'll test your patience. They delay plans, avoid clarity, stay vague. If you keep showing up, they believe your love is safe. And seventh, they'll downplay their own feelings. Even when you mean the world to them, they'll say, it's not that serious. It's just casual, because saying otherwise would mean losing control. But here's what you need to remember. Their obsession is real, but so is their fear. You cannot rescue someone from their avoidance. You can only stand firm in what you deserve. Consistency, clarity, connection without confusion. So don't chase the person who plays games with love. Stand tall and watch who's brave enough to meet you. Their avoidants often distance themselves after moments of closeness. It's one of the most confusing behaviors you'll ever encounter. One day, you feel like the connection is real, the walls come down, the conversation flows, there's laughter, intimacy, even eye contact that lingers just a little too long. You feel seen, chosen, safe, and then radio silence. They cancel plans, take longer to reply. Maybe they disappear completely for a few days. You're left wondering if you imagined it all. Was the connection even real? Did you do something wrong? Did they lose interest overnight? But here's the truth. It wasn't about you. For avoidance, closeness isn't just emotional. It's threatening. The more they feel, the more they fear losing control. And closeness, that's the trigger. It reminds them of past experiences they never resolved. It pokes at old wounds of abandonment, of being smothered, of feeling trapped. So the moment it gets good, they run. They pull back to protect themselves, not from *U*, but from their own vulnerability. It's not that they didn't enjoy the moment. They did. It scared them, because intimacy opens the door to expectations, to emotional risk, to needing someone, and needing someone has never felt safe to them. So they hit the brakes, sometimes hard. They might tell themselves it's too soon, that they're busy, that they don't want anything serious. But the truth is deeper. They're not avoiding *U*. They're avoiding how much they care, and unless they're aware of this pattern, they'll keep pushing away the very thing they want most. It's a defense mechanism. A strategy for self-protection disguised as emotional detachment. But here's where it hurts the most. You're left in the confusion. You replay every word, every smile, every touch, trying to make sense of how something so real could suddenly vanish. It makes you doubt your instincts, doubt your worth, and sometimes blame yourself. But remember this, their distance isn't proof you did something wrong. It's proof they felt something real, and real scares them. They hide deep feelings behind fake indifference. It's their armor, a carefully built mask that says, I don't care. Even when they're thinking about you all day, they pretend your message didn't make their heart skip. They act like your presence doesn't affect them. They laugh a little too casually, speak a little too vaguely, and always seem just out of reach. But behind that indifference, there's a storm. They care more than they want to admit, more than they can admit, because to show it, that would mean surrendering control. It would mean giving someone the power to hurt them. So they play it cool. They shrug off compliments Act distracted when you open up. Change the subject when emotions rise, but don't mistake their distance for a lack of depth. Avoidants often feel more than they show. They analyze your every move, replay your words in their head. Wonder what you're thinking, even as they pretend they don't care. It's not that the feelings aren't there. They're buried, hidden under layers of self-protection, layers built over time. Maybe they grew up in an environment where showing emotion led to rejection. Maybe they've been hurt so badly, they promised never to feel that deeply again. So now, when they do feel something real, they shut it down, not because they want to, because they're scared to want it too much. They want to know you care, they just don't want to ask. They want to feel close, but not too close. It's a constant tug-of-war inside them. Part of them is desperate to connect. The other part is terrified of what happens if they do. So they rely on indifference. They tell themselves it's better not to show anything, because no one can hurt what they don't see. But the problem is you *do* see it. You feel the undercurrent, the tension, the silent longing between every line, and it's exhausting, because you're left wondering how long you have to pretend not to care, just to match their act. But the truth is that indifference isn't real. It's a disguise, a shield, a cover-up for feelings they don't know how to handle, and the more they pretend not to care, the more it reveals just how much they do. Mixed signals are their favorite form of control. They won't say what they truly feel. They'll say just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to make you feel secure. One day, they're warm, affectionate, present. They'll text you first, laugh at all your jokes, give you just a glimpse of what it could be like if they fully showed up, and just when you start to relax they go cold. The replies become short, dry, delayed. Suddenly you're left staring at your phone wondering what you did wrong. The same person who made you feel so seen now makes you feel invisible. This emotional roller coaster isn't accidental, it's their pattern. They don't want to lose you, but they also don't want to surrender control. So they give you just enough to stay, but never enough to feel safe. That confusion you feel, that's not a glitch. It's the game. When you start pulling away, they notice, they sense it, and that's when the warmth returns. Hey, I was thinking about you. I miss your energy. Let's catch up soon. Suddenly, they're back, and just like that, hope returns, but it's never consistent, because consistent would mean commitment. It would mean showing up every time, not just when they feel in control. Mixed signals are how they manage their fear. They keep things blurry so they don't have to define anything, because if they defined it, they'd have to own their feelings, and owning their feelings would mean being vulnerable, being seen. So instead, they hide behind ambiguity. They rely on your confusion to keep the upper hand, and as long as you're questioning where you stand, they feel safe. Because if you're off balance, you won't ask for more, you won't push too hard, you'll stay exactly where they want you, close enough to feed their need for connection, but far enough to avoid real intimacy. The saddest part is, they may not even realize they're doing it. To them, it might feel like they're just not sure, or taking things slow. But to you, it feels like emotional whiplash. You go from feeling chosen to feeling tolerated, from special to invisible, and yet the cycle repeats. Every time you try to walk away, they pull you back in, not with clarity but with crumbs, and you keep holding on, hoping the mixed signals will eventually lead to something real. But mixed signals aren't a phase, they're a strategy, a way to stay close, without ever getting too close. They reappear just when you're ready to move on. It's almost like they can feel it, the moment your heart starts to let go. The moment you finally stop checking your phone, stop waiting for a reply, stop hoping they'll change, that's when they come back, out of nowhere, a message, a like on your story, a casual "Hey, how have you been?" like nothing ever happened. And just like that, your progress unravels. You were healing, you were learning to breathe without them, you were starting to remember who you were before the confusion, but now they're back, and it stirs everything up. They don't apologize, they don't explain, they just slip into your life like they never left, and part of you wants to ignore it, to stay strong, to remember the silence, the coldness, the way they made you feel so small. But another part, the part that misses them, still wonders if maybe this time will be different. Maybe they realized what they lost, maybe they've grown, maybe they mean it this time, but usually they don't. They come back not because they've changed, but because they felt your energy shift, because they sensed they were losing control. See, avoidants don't handle rejection well, even if they pushed you away. They still want to know you're there, available, waiting, longing. Your silence is a threat to their illusion of power. So when you stop reaching out, when you stop showing you care, they panic, not in a way that leads to clarity or commitment, but just enough panic to pull you back in. They want the comfort of your presence without the responsibility of your heart, so they throw out a line, a breadcrumb, a subtle reminder, I still exist, and if you respond, they feel safe again. Not because they plan to build something real, but because they've reasserted control. You're still there, still orbiting them, but you lose time, you lose peace, you lose progress, because every time they come back, they interrupt your healing. They confuse your clarity, they reopen wounds that were finally starting to close. So when they reappear, ask yourself, is this love, or is this just a habit of reaching out when they feel you slipping away? Because love doesn't come back only when it's convenient. Real love doesn't need to chase you down when you finally begin to move forward. Jealousy is used as a tool to test your interest. It's subtle at first. They casually mention someone new, a friend they've been spending time with, someone they just ran into the other night, and they watch your face closely. They're not just sharing stories, they're gauging your reaction. Did your smile fade? Did your tone shift? Did you ask questions or stay silent? Because in their mind, silence might mean indifference, and indifference terrifies them. So they drop little hints about the people who find them attractive. The ones who flirt, the ones who get them, and not to hurt you, not to be cruel, but to find proof that you still care. They won't say it directly, they rarely do, but what they're really asking is, do I still matter to you? Avoidants are experts at hiding their true emotions. But jealousy, that's one of the few tools they feel safe using, because if they can make you react, then they feel seen, they feel desired, they feel in control. They won't say, I'm afraid you'll stop caring. So instead they say, someone else seems to care about me, and then they wait. They want to see that flicker of insecurity in you, because if you get jealous, it means your feelings are still alive. But here's the irony, they crave love, but fear vulnerability, so they test instead of trust. They provoke instead of connect. It's easier for them to stir jealousy than to ask for reassurance, easier to make you feel uncertain than to admit their own, but the damage adds up, because while they're testing your interest, they're also testing your patience. Eventually you grow tired of games, tired of comparisons, tired of being put in competition with people who aren't even in the room. You want honesty, not manipulation. You want clarity, not little traps for your emotions. But to the avoidant, jealousy is safer than honesty. It's a backdoor to your heart, a way to check if you're still invested without risking their pride. They don't realize that every time they use jealousy to connect, they weaken the bond they're trying to protect. Because real connection isn't built through insecurity, it's built through openness, through courage, through the willingness to ask directly, do you still want me? But instead, they play with fire, hoping the flames will warm them without realizing they're burning the very bridge they stand on. So, if you've found yourself trapped in this pattern, if you've been dancing with someone who hides, pulls away, tests, and confuses, know this. It's not a reflection of your worth. You didn't imagine the connection. You simply felt something they were too afraid to hold. But love should not be a guessing game. It should not make you question your value. It should not rely on distance, silence, or jealousy to stay alive. You deserve clarity. You deserve consistency. You deserve someone who chooses you out loud, not someone who hides behind games while secretly hoping you'll stay. So stand in your truth. Don't shrink to fit into someone else's fear. Because the right person won't need to test your love, they'll simply return it. And with them, love won't feel like a mind game. It will feel like peace.